I'll go live in a minute. So this is what Ed said, right? We're live.
Okay.
Okay. So hi everybody. We're live now. This is a Helidon team booth slot. We are here for 2 hours. I hope everybody can hear me well. And we have 3 presentations for you. And we will interact with you in the chat if you have any questions. So first presentation is mine. It's for about, let's say, 20 minutes, 25 minutes. Can be half an hour. After that will go Thomas Langer. He will demonstrate a Helidon demo. And the second hour is Joe DePaul. He's one of the Helidon managers. He will talk about Helidon 2. So let's get started. This is a safe harbor statement from Oracle. And a little bit about myself. My name is Dmitry Kornilov. I'm Helidon project lead. Here are my contact details. So you can email me and you can follow me on Twitter. I usually post there some Helidon related or Jakarta EE related updates. And now let's jump to the Helidon itself. And for those who don't know what Helidon is, here is one sentence description. It's a set of libraries for development microservices. It's not an application server like WebLogic, OpenLiberty PR, etc. It's more a set of libraries or a framework like Spring Boot, Quarkus, or Micronaut. And actually, there are 2 Helidons. One is Helidon SE and another Helidon MP. So what's the difference between them? Basically, 2 frameworks, but in your application, you can use only one of them. You don't mix them in your application. And we created 2 because they don't believe that it's a good idea to mix 2 different development experiences. Each of these frameworks have different development experience. So Helidon SE is our reactive not blocking framework. It's designed with performance in mind. It's similar to what Netflix is using for their services. It's similar to what Apple is using for their services. It's super fast and very small. It also provides development experience with no magic. No magic means that there are no annotations, there are no dependency injection, and you have a full control of your application. There's a drawback. Your code can be a little bit longer. You need to code a little bit more. And Helidon MP is, I would say, a modern version of Enterprise Java. It's our answer to the modern standards and de facto standards like Jakarta EE and Microprofile. It's cloud friendly. It provides Spring Boot-like development experience with annotations, with dependency injections. So there is a lot of magic compared to Helidon SE. Now let's talk about features. On this slide, I put all Helidon SE features. And features which we added in Helidon 2.0 marked as green. So we already had non-blocking reactive server, configuration security, and observability components. But we were missing some functionality to be called features complete. We are closing this gap now by introducing DB Client, which is our non-blocking database access API, the app client, non-blocking HTTP API used to call other services, reactive streams and reactive messaging to communicate with other services the non-blocking way, WebSocket API, it was many requests by users to add it, and CORS support. So now we have a full set of non-blocking APIs which you may require to make fast non-blocking service. We're also introducing a new JLink based build profile and Helidon command line interface. I'll talk about these two things later. Here is a similar slide for Helidon MP. We fully support microprofile 3.2. Actually, 3.3 support is coming in a weeks. There are microprofile components which marked light blue, and Jakarta components which marked dark blue, and newly added components are green. We continue supporting microprofile specifications and adding implementations for reactive streams operators and reactive messaging, as well as Jakarta WebSocket. But the main feature of Helidon MP 2.0 is GraalVM native image support. So we already had GraalVM support in Helidon SE, I think since version 1. In version 2, we are bringing GraalVM native image support to Helidon MP. It means that you'll be able to build a native image from your Helidon MP application. In both Helidons, we support free build profiles. You can build an executable jar file. It's supported from day one. It's what's called hollow jar. It means that it contains only application business logic, and all third-party dependencies are collected in a separate directory. It's done this way to better support Docker layering. Third-party code is not changing often and can be placed in different layer of your Docker image. So every time you build it, the only layer with your business logic is changing, which makes the build fast. The second profile is JLink. It's new in Helidon 2.0. If you don't know, JLink was introduced in Java 9. It's used to create a Java runtime environment which has only functionality used by your application. So everything else is not included there. It makes the overall image size smaller. It also optimizes your application startup time, so it starts a little faster. And what's important, this profile doesn't introduce any restrictions to your application. And the last profile is a profile for GraalVM native image. It's supported in MP now. It allows you to build native image based on your application with all the advantages of almost instant startup time and lowest possible memory consumption. As a drawback, it introduces some restrictions to your application related to use of Java runtime features, such as reflection, proxy, and so on. I created some graphs to demonstrate differences between these profiles. First is comparison of the Docker image sizes, and the second one is comparison of the startup times. And as the base, we used our Helidon MP Quick Start application. You can see that jar profile has the biggest Docker image because it contains a full Java runtime environment. JLink has a smaller image. In this case, it's around 200 megs. And GraalVM native image is the smallest, and it's about 115 megabytes. And talking about startup times, again, jar has a startup time about almost 1.6 seconds. It's on the fast machine. JLink is slightly above 1 second, and native image is almost instant. This comparison is actually mainly to demonstrate the difference between profiles, because 1.5 seconds is really good anyway, especially comparing with Kubernetes pod provisioning time, which can take about 30 seconds. Now let's talk about Helidon command line interface. It's a command line utility created to make developers' life easier and more fun. It simplifies project creation. We have several Helidon SE and Helidon MP templates to choose from, including the database template. It also has a development mode which tracks your source code and recompiles and reruns your application automatically if something is changed. We call it live restarting. It's very convenient, and this feature was highly requested by our users. This is basically similar to how you work with Node.js applications. For instance, you run the server, run some processes, automatically check the sources, and restarts your application. So now you have it in Helidon. We are planning to add more features to CLI. CLI, it's our first version, and Tomasz has a second presentation after me, so he will possibly demonstrate it live. Helidon DB Client, again, this is new in 2.0, is a non-blocking database access API for Helidon SE. So why we need it? When you are developing a non-blocking service which accesses the database, that database part was a challenge, and it's mainly because there are not many non-blocking database drivers. And adding blocking database access functionality in your non-blocking service doesn't make sense. So with DB Client, it's not a challenge anymore. It adds non-blocking database access APIs and allows to use existing blocking JDBC drivers in a non-blocking way. It's quite cool. It supports relational and NoSQL databases. It supports all Helidon observability features such as metrics, health checks, and tracing. It doesn't introduce any new database access language. You always use your database and native direct. It uses conventional configuration in a way that all database statements are externalized in configuration. It means that it's possible to change the database without recompiling your application. Next feature, Helidon Web Client. It's not blocking HTTP client. It's designed in Helidon SE Reactive style. Possibly Tomasz from the next presentation will demonstrate it. It supports all HTTP operations. It provides full integration with observability features. It follows redirects, and it can be extended with some extra functionality. We continue improving it, adding new features. This feature is experimental. So in the latest version, we will add new features and improve it. And this works the same with DB Client. Now about reactive streams operators and reactive messaging. We have it for MP and we have it for SE too. In MP, we are extending our microprofile specs list by adding implementations of a corresponding microprofile specifications. In SE, we are adding new APIs in Helidon SE Reactive style. And it has a huge sense for SE, because reactive streams processing is a must-have functionality for a modern non-blocking framework, as Helidon SE. By the way, reactive stream implementation is contributed to Helidon by Dmitry Kornilov, who is a famous guy in the reactive Java world. He's a father of project Reactive 3. Talking about performance. Performance is one of our goals. We would like to deliver one of the fastest reactive streams operators implementations. And here is a comparison of our implementation with small RAI, which is a preference implementation of microprofile streams operators. You can see that our implementation is almost twice faster, which is a perfect result. Another functionality which is highly requested by our users is CORS. So which basically allows CORS is cross-region resource sharing and controls access by web application from one region to resources from another. So if you don't use CORS, you won't be able to access resources from your browser which are located somewhere in another server. And it works by adding some additional HTTP headers. We support CORS in both Helidon SE and Helidon MP. And in Helidon SE, it works, the API is designed Helidon SE way. And in MP, you just use annotations and it's automatically supported in Helidon Health, Metrics, and Open API services. That's the end of my presentation. Thank you very much.